Voting isn't just going to the polls anymore on election day. Options like early voting, mail-in voting, and ballot drop boxes are available to more voters and are growing in popularity. How to Vote is a tool created by Democracy Works, and it breaks down the options your state offers by forecasting a ballot, empowering you to decide where and when to vote. Democracy works best when we all vote, but misinformation and confusion about election procedures have resulted in low voter turnout. How to Vote takes the guesswork out of the voting process. It is easy to use and helps folks from all over the country overcome many of the process barriers to voting. It is committed to helping you vote no matter what. You can use the How to Vote tool to sign up for election reminders, see what's on your ballot, get step-by-step assistance requesting your mail ballot, explore your options for returning your mail-in ballot, check your voter registration status, and find your local polling site, and make sure that you have an appropriate ID to bring with you. Decide when and where you'll vote this year at howto.vote.
Hello and welcome to the formal review. Today we will be looking at the 2018 film, First Reformed. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the review.
Hey everyone, my name is Andre, and a lot of you probably know me from my written reviews. For those who don't, I am the critic for Box Office Buzz, and I'm going to be now doing this formal review podcast where I'll be looking into movies a little bit in more depth. This podcast will have some spoilers, and I only do that just because I want to be able to talk about film, and it's kind of hard to do that completely without having some spoilers. Now, I don't want to ruin movies for you, so if you haven't seen the film that I'm going to be talking about, please go watch it, and then we can have the discussion, or if you don't care, keep listening. First Reformed is a drama thriller written and directed by Paul Schrader and stars Ethan Hawke, Amanda Seyfried, and Cedric Kyles. This film takes place in present day in a small town somewhere in upstate New York, where Toller, played by Ethan Hawke, works as a pastor in a church named First Reformed. Toller is preparing for his church's 250th anniversary. They're trying to invite the governor, pretty much everyone, to this big Sunday service. But on a normal basis, there's not a lot of turnout because it is a small church that honestly, comparison to the one down the road, that is more of a bigger church that can seat a quote-unquote mere 5,000 people. After one Sunday service, Toller interacts with Mary, played by Amanda Seyfried, along with her husband. Being a woman of faith, she has become scared from her husband because he doesn't want their unborn child to come into this world that may be destroyed. So then the film basically shows you the interaction that he has with the husband and also Mary. Over the course of the film, Toller starts questioning his faith. Like I said, this film was written and directed by Schrader, who also wrote a lot of Martin Scorsese films, including Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and The Last Temptation of Christ. So this film essentially looks at this very real debate between spirituality and realism through a very engaging dialogue and its message. And it's not a controversial film in the way that Darren Aronofsky's Mother was from 2017. It does look at similar concepts. And this comes from, honestly, a man who was brought up in a church similar to the one that Toller works in. Schrader is trying to show you this topic in a way that is not meant to shock you. It's not meant to be hateful toward organized religion and also having faith. He's looking at it in a way to just instigate a conversation. He does acknowledge the positive aspects of it. And he's just looking for the audience members to see problems, but it's not done in a way that's hostile. And that's why this film is a lot stronger than Mother was, even though their topics are very similar. Now, Toller is a man who has come to be of the faith because he has lost everyone that he's loved. His son was killed. His wife blames him for that, so she leaves him. Now, Toller is a very troubled man, and Ethan Hawke plays him absolutely brilliantly. I've never been the biggest fan of Ethan Hawke. He's not bad, but he's had his ups and downs over the course of his career. But this film shows his acting ability. Now, one similarity between Toller and Schrader's previous character of Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver, in that they're both essentially kind of dealing with PTSD. But for me, Toller shows a lot more internal turmoil that perhaps Schrader and a lot of people other go through. Whether it's faith-based, or if it's in humanity or country, or even somebody who puts all their trust in someone and then doesn't get that amount of trust in return, you're gonna feel betrayed. And that turmoil is shown through Toller's journey. Not to say Travis Bickle isn't an interesting character, obviously he is, but this one shows a lot more turmoil. To me, it makes it more interesting. What adds to Hawk's performance is a solid supporting cast, with Seyfried and Kyles being the standouts. Now, Kyles is somebody who a lot of people had known him as Cedric the Entertainer. Now, obviously, this man has been in more comedic roles, and to see him take on a very serious role, very surprisingly successful way. He does a fairly good job. Now, even though I've been praising the film, and it's not flawless, I mean, it's a little slow in the beginning, and there's one scene that I won't go into full detail that's kind of odd. It doesn't damage the film as a whole, because the choice by Schrader to do this scene is understandable, but it can kind of take away from the film if one doesn't understand the message that's going along, or really just doesn't agree with it. But overall, Schrader has put together a very compelling story that poses a lot of questions, but doesn't give the audience all the answers. He wants you to think about every single part of the film, the beginning, the middle, the end. Why is that important to the overall message? The last scene of the film will instigate a conversation alone. For me, I thought it was immensely satisfying, but I can understand people not being satisfied by it. And when you have an ending like that that helps the message move along, plus you have a fantastic performances by especially Hawk, it really makes this film one of the best, if not the best film of 2018 so far. If you're looking for a film that will give you an emotional and intellectual response, this film will do that, plus much more. Honestly, there's a lot of skill from Schrader behind the camera and make this film such a great experience to see. And if you're able to, go see this in theaters and buy it on Blu-ray like I'm going to. I mean, A24 does another great job as a distributor, and honestly, I would rate this film 4.5 out of 5 bow ties. I want to know, what did you think about the film as a whole? What did you think of its message? Did you agree with it or didn't you? Let me know. Talk to me on Twitter. Talk to me on Facebook. Talk to me on Instagram. It's the same URL, at The Formal Review. And you can also check out my written reviews on Box Office Buzz. You can also check them out for up-to-date movie news. And I'll see you at the movies. Take care, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Formal Review. We hope you'll join us again.